We have some guests today who are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance from Troop 103. Come on up, gentlemen. Yeah, right up front.
Oh, wait, one up.
Yeah, right there.
You guys will start the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag Thank you. Here you guys are here joining us because you're working on your citizenship and the community badge. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to open up tonight with Citizens Time. Is there anyone here who wants to speak on Citizens Time? Anyone online? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is an update on municipal aggregation from Sam. And to our scouts, what municipal aggregation is the town took all of our buying power when it came to our electrical bills. We put it all together so we could buy as one entity, and we're, as a result, saving some money on everyone's electrical bill. So it's called municipal aggregation, and Sam's going to give us an update on it. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. That's an excellent summary.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank the powers that be for putting me at the top of the agenda to accommodate my schedule this evening, so I will endeavor to be very brief. I'm here to provide everyone's favorite semi-regular update on your electrical bills. Today's update is about the actual dollars that we've been able to save the residents. We got our 2024 quarter 4 report. So that covers the first 3 months of the program. So if we go to the next slide. Yep. The enrollment data. So this is once we had sent out all of those letters, where we ended up after all of the opt-outs and opt-ins at the very start of the program. The important detail from all of this data is that our consultants, when they came here, they talked about opt-outs being typically 8 to 9%. Our opt-out rate was only 5%. So we offered either a very competitive package or we helped get information out that people felt comfortable sticking with the program. So it could be a mixture of other things, but we also saw nearly 100 people who did not get a letter, had FOMO, found out about the program, and then chose to participate in it. So I think that that's also a good sign that we did a pretty good rollout and that the enrollment process was very successful. The green energy options were not super popular choices. A statistical rounding error selected those. More people chose a 25% greener energy versus just 5%. So maybe in the future we talk about offering more aggressive green programs because maybe that's more enticing than just a marginal improvement. So something worth musing about, but that's for way down the road. Now we get to the actual data. The number of meters in the program, 87%, or just about 9 out of 10, are residential meters. So that's single-family homes, apartments, things like that. Another 13%, so basically getting to 100%, are commercial users. The outside of those residentials, there are the green energy options. Those were almost all residential, except 2 commercial meters were at a plus 25%. I don't know who they are, but 2 of our businesses cared about their carbon footprint. There are 4 industrial users who use up 3% of the electricity that the town uses every month. So very high intensity, but there's a very small number of them. So when we look at the usage, and that's the factor that really matters for calculating the savings, 2/3 of usage is residential, whereas about 1/3 is commercial, and then there is that substantial portion coming from the industrial team. So what does that mean for actual savings in total? We saved the town in 3 months a little over $500,000 on their energy bills. So it's big in aggregate. The total number of dollars it's the more you use, the more actual total dollars you save, even though the saving rate's the same. So the way to think of that is if you spend $100, you're getting $2 back. If you spend $1,000, you're getting $20 back. So you are saving more actual dollars, but the rate of saving is not changing. But that's $500,000 that was going in somebody else's pocket that now gets to stay in yours in total. We then saw how that broke down by the usage classes. So you can see for residents and commercial, they saved money every single month. Our industrial users, and this is a really great case example of what's really going on with the program. In October, it cost them a little bit more, but then Eversource's rate changed for November, and they saved more than what it had cost them in October, just in November. So over those 3 months, net savings, but there was a small period of a very slight loss. That's what we're talking about when we can't guarantee savings. The hope is that over the life of the program, you will have saved more money with the price point that we were offering. So that's what the consultants have warned about, and here's a very small case example, but our industrial users are net saving over the first 3 months that were reported. And then per user, what this meant for your average family, if you're a resident, you saved about $15.50 a month over those 3 months. If you were a commercial user, you saved about $50 a month. And for those couple of industrial users, they saved $1,380 a month. So in the scope of your family budget, in the scope of your business budget, maybe not a huge chunk, but it is a positive step that we did try to take to help address energy costs, and it's money that you have today that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Very briefly on the green portfolio, those, they did save money every month at 5% more green energy and at 25% more green energy. That's why we had picked those price points, because they were still underneath Eversource's basic service rate, so they would experience some savings at the start. So that's all good news. People saved money, it seems to be working, and now I just want to preview where things will be going sort of for the rest of the year here. Our next report will come in at about the beginning of July, and that will be for Q1 of 2025, so January, February, and March. Those numbers, you should expect January to look a lot like November, December. Same savings rate, similar type of usage. February is when Eversource's rate for the spring, summer season changes, and it's much closer to where we are. So for residents, you are going to still save money, but it's going to be fractions of a penny per kilowatt hour. For commercial businesses, it will actually cost you more to be on our program for fractions of a penny. So you might lose a little over those 6 months, but certainly nowhere close to the rate that you had saved during the first 4 months of the program. So you'll still be net savings, and come August 1st, we expect Eversource's rate to go back up for the winter season, and then that savings should return. There are business options where Eversource changes the rate every month. I cannot do the calculus for you about when you need to switch and do things on that, and that's too long for a summary point and a quick update. Our industrial users, Eversource's rate is still way higher. They should see pretty substantial savings through the rest of the year, especially if the rates go up again in August. The only other tidbit is that our consultant will be submitting the annual report to the DPU next month. That will cover the enrollment process and the Q4 report, and then that's an annual report they'll submit every May. So next May would be all of 2025's data. And that's everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Sam? Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sam, as always, thank you. Not only is that informative, but I appreciate the fact that we've got all the data and the metrics to look at. and that we can actually start to see those savings, and they are fairly substantial, which is great news. I have a couple quick questions. I was reading, it was last week or the week before, the natural gas prices are going to start rising again, and you were just saying that Eversource is going to be shifting into their next kind of like seasonal price point, is going to see a drop in their pricing. Do we anticipate with the rising cost of natural gas that the electric cost is going to also rise perhaps through the summer?
So Eversource will most likely raise their rate in August 1st, because the winter season electricity production is more expensive because people are using natural gas to heat their homes. So the home heating market increases the demand for natural gas versus just the electrical suppliers who are using natural gas to generate electricity.
Okay.
So that's what drives winter electric rates to go up, is that there's just more demand for natural gas. And that's part of why there's a big seasonal shift, because you would think, well, the summer, everybody's running their AC, but there's no demand for the actual product that's producing that electricity in a separate market that drives the prices.
Okay, excellent. And my next question / comment is, would love it if we could make these slides available to the public from on the website.
It'll go on the website, yep.
Okay, and then maybe even like a short summary by you, either written or in video form, that helps not only walk them through it in, 2-3 minutes, right? But maybe even like on average, what this means for you, the resident, right? Because $511,000 is a lot of money, right, for the town to be saving as a group. But like, what does that mean for me? What have I really saved, right? On average, right? I
Yep.
think that we can kind of give that to help contextualize it for residents. And then once that's done, I don't know, I'm not going to volunteer you, even though you are the most well-versed on the topic, is like maybe we pop in and do a quick thing on BCAT, do a quick thing for the buzz. We help get this out there so folks can see it. I think it's important that people who both opted and didn't opt in understand this whole program, what it's doing and how it's affecting everybody. So if you can help with that, let me know.
Okay.
All right?
Jim?
Hey, Mr. Chairman. Sam, are we able to pull out how much the town has saved on all town facilities on energy?
So the town's facilities are on a separate contract, so they are not part of this program. So that's a,
So the town itself cannot benefit from this?
yeah, the town operates on a separate contract, and we bid our town facilities separately. So that actually will be entering the bid process for that soon, because those contracts expire this fall.
Can the town,
The town could join our municipal program if, when we go out to bid, the municipal program is more competitive than whatever we can find in the marketplace. We would be able to join this under this current contract.
because as like Nick said, $511,000, it's a lot of money. I can just imagine with all the schools, the town building, the water treatment plant, all these town facilities, how much money we can be saving if we were on this plan. So I think we should think about that.
Yeah.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Sam, for coming in and providing this update. Great news that there is actual savings and results from all that work that we put into trying to roll out this program. So just to be clear, the data that we got tonight was for October, November, December of 2024.
Correct.
Okay, just so folks are aware of that. And the next update will be the June, July timeframe, or the next report back on?
Yeah, so there's like a 1-quarter drag. So the reason that we got in April, October, November, December is like you use in October, you get billed in November, you pay in December, and it gets reported in January. So by the time they get 3 months of reporting, we're looking at April. Like, that's why. So we'll have January, February, March, like in July, and then come the end of September, beginning of October, we would have like April, May, June. So it's a further along than you'd really want. You have to really throw your mind back to what months we're talking about, but that's why it's so stagnated.
Great. Well, I definitely appreciated us getting an update on the first 3 months. I don't know if it's necessary to get it every 3 months, and I don't know if it even makes sense, just because the usages go up and down so much, but maybe every 6 months, we could get a similar update that shows the savings across months, so you can understand it is going to go up and down. So just putting that out there. Do you have any idea how many communities in Mass are taking advantage of this program?
I did know this offhand when I was doing a lot of the early research, but it's,
Wise, is it like more than 50%?
I think it's like 40 some odd percent, close to 50% use municipal aggregation. There are then a handful of towns that have their own municipal light plan, local examples being Reading and Wakefield. So they operate they're doing their own production and their own distribution, and so that's a entirely separate beast. But like half of the Commonwealth uses this currently. Cape Cod and the islands do it jointly, and that's the Cape Cod Compact Light, and that's again, a slightly different variation, but they're doing municipal aggregation as a region.
Great. And I don't have any other questions, but I did just want to reiterate my appreciation for the update. And I think when we started all this, it was a lot of jargon that confused a lot of us and a lot of people in the community, and you've done a really good job of framing the messaging and helping people to understand. And I've heard firsthand some of the conversations you've had, the many conversations that you've had in our office, whether it's on the phone or people just popping in, asking questions, and really appreciate just the care and the respect and the friendliness in how you talk to folks in our community. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Mr. Moretti?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a real quick comment. So thank you. We've all said it, so thank you very much for this. I just want to make a comment on the commercial side of it. I know probably 6 or 7 of those businesses that have their own setup for this, have gone out and solicited other people for it. So sometimes I might be better off using the town for a commercial side of it, but I'm going to have to look at the rate, and so might some of the other ones be. So I just want to put it out more to the public that some of those numbers are actually perfect, but there's guys like me that have my own private thing going on with that. So I may not be in there, but I'm definitely going to give you a call and find out what I can do, how different the rate is between me and you. It's just a comment more than anything else, but thank you very much for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. People should look at rates and see whatever ends up being the best. The benefit of our program is that it's locked in for a while, so it's almost like a price ceiling. You don't have to pay more than what we're offering. If you find a better deal, absolutely take advantage of that.
Thank you. That's it.
Sam, thank you for all your hard work on this. This is awesome to get like a tangible kind of update and numbers. And to our scouts, we're not saving so much money that we can buy Nintendo Switches with the money we save on our electric bills, but maybe a couple games here and there. So we're going to keep doing modest savings, little singles each week, and we'll keep the ball moving. So thank you, Sam.
All right.
And thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a couple of appointments. We have some retirements that are happening in town. So what our board does is approves when we transition to a newer person. And the first person we're going to talk to is going to take over Youth and Family Services. And Christine will be retiring and leaving us, and she has her predecessor with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Good evening. So as you know, I'll be retiring in June, and I wanted to introduce David Langford, who has been with Youth and Family Services in January of 2022. Came in as a clinician. Following year was upgraded, is the word that I come up with, became a clinical supervisor. Prior to coming to Burlington, he worked at Riverside Community Agency, which for 4 years. So he's got a lot of clinical experience that he brought into the job, and certainly as supervisor has done a great job in that position. I've spent the last year plus beginning to introduce him to the various responsibilities that come along with being the director, and he's ready to hit the ground running, so.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So we were first notified about Christine's retirement about a year ago, and she said, don't worry, we have an awesome one in-house that we're training up, And Christine and Joanne and Martha Simon,
Yes.
who's on the advisory board, were able to conduct interviews with David and very enthusiastically recommended him. And I was lucky enough to meet one-on-one with David and hear about his background, his education, and his vision for the department. And I, too, was very impressed, as I was told I was going to be. So with that, on behalf of the town administrator, Paul Sagarino, he wishes to appoint David Langford as the executive director for the Burlington Youth and Family Services Department with effective June 9th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Chair is also a yes, so that's 5-0. Congratulations. And thank you, Christine, for all of your hard work. Christine, before you go, we all want to say a couple of words for you.
Want to thank him, welcome him first?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
You're the Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
The Ring of Fire.
You're not getting off that easy. We want to thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I know you did a great job.
Congratulations. Big shoes to fill.
You want to start, Jim, since you,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. He asked to say a few words about Christine, but there's just so many that I know this could go on and on. I've worked with Christine, first with the police department, then with domestic violence groups, with, across all kinds of different social services areas. I'd like to make a motion, we can't, not allow her to retire, but I know I can't do that.
no, take that
But I
in
said to
mind.
David, David, you've got some very big shoes to fill. Christine, I, as a resident, as a member of this board, cannot thank you enough because you have been in charge of a town department that is basically a safety net that no one knows about. You only know about youth and family services if you require the services. And the amount of work that they do, we can't publicly talk about a lot of it, but there is so much that Youth and Family Services does for this town that just goes unnoticed because of the nature of the work. But I, as a friend, also want to thank you for your years of service. I know you won't miss that commute from Quincy at all. David, where do you commute from?
Coming in from Cambridge.
That's better than Quincy. But again, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you've done for the residents, for this town, and enjoy retirement.
Thank you, Jim, and I want to thank you as well. Sort of the collaboration that we've been able to do over the years has been really beneficial for obviously the residents in this community. And one of the things about this position is I work in a community that really cares about the community. And so when there's a need, we've had people to go to and be able to get what folks need, so.
Just one quick follow-up.
Sure.
I love how our succession planning is working, because we're not having those voids and gaps in between department heads. Another great example of next man up, but I think the succession planning that we've started doing years ago has been huge for this town. So we don't lose that department head for X amount of time. So that's all, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think that thank you would be sufficient enough. And I say that to the entirety of the department. The last near 9 years, I've had we'll say a HIPAA-compliant inside view into how Youth and Family Services functions in our community. And I couldn't be happier. And that is largely in part because Christine, you, and David, you too, have been, working so hard to make it such an important thing in our community. And Jim's right. You almost want it to go unnoticed, right? You want it to serve its function and not be loud and boisterous, but to, walk silently with everyone who needs it, right? And that is such a wonderful thing, right? David, I know that you'll do a wonderful job in this role. I know it. I know you will.
You will.
because I have the utmost faith in you and Christine, and, to say that we have directors and staff and a succession plan in place to shrink that knowledge gap, to support our people, both here in the community and within our departments, is a blessing to this community writ large, right? So thank you. Christine, thank you.
Thank you.
Like, from me to you, truly, like, the work that you've done has been nothing short of incredible. We will miss you. Please visit.
I will.
Shoot Jen a text, right? Let us know how you're doing. But words cannot truly express how grateful I am for this community, for the Family Services, and for what you guys do on a regular basis. So, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Christine. Enjoy your well-deserved time off. And I was one of those people that didn't know all the amount and width and breadth of things that Youth and Family Services does until I was running for a select board for the first time, and I made appointments with all the department heads. And when we sat in your office, you told me all the things you did. I was blown away. And again, as Jim said, it's a service you don't know we provide until you actually need it. And for, privacy reasons, it's not something we can kind of share and promote and talk about too much, but it's something that's there, and you have probably touched the lives and hearts and souls of so many Burlington families of all ages. So this town owes you a great debt of gratitude. And that does not go unnoticed, and we're very thankful. And Burlington is a better place because of your efforts. So thank you very much. Well-deserved retirement, and enjoy.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look up for David, okay?
Well, we will. We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
So it's not always next man up. In this case, we have next woman up. We have our treasurer collector, Cara Giannino, is going to be leaving us, and he's here, his replacement.
Good evening to the chair and the members of the board. Yes, as you stated, I will be retiring in early June, as we discussed at a prior meeting. Before you this evening, I have, I'm just going to give a little history. Back in March of 2023, this board helped in the reorganization of the department, and we started the position of we initiated the position of the Deputy Treasurer Collector. Anna Maria DeRosa has been in that position now for a little over 2 years. Anna is a certified treasurer, working towards the certification for collector. I am sure that if she took the test now, she'd pass, but given the requirements of the Mass Treasurer Collectors, Mass Collected Treasurers Association, you have to follow through with the courses. Anna has been a great addition to the department and has moved through many different issues and helped me in my attempts, and the team has been very responsive to Anna as we've moved forward. Her education speaks for itself, having a bachelor's from Framingham State University, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, and an MBA from Framingham State. That background, along with her working in the town of Littleton and the town of Andover in a treasurer's department capacity, is also prepared her for this position. I am quite honored to be able to recommend to this board for the appointment of Anna Maria DeRosa as the next treasurer collector for the town of Burlington.
Mr. Chairman, this is a board appointment, and I would echo everything Gary says and enthusiastically support the recommendation of Anna. I've had a chance to work with her closely in her time here, and she's proven herself to be quite capable to fill the giant shoes left by.
All right, so we need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ana Maria DeRosa to the role of treasurer-collector for the town of Burlington, effective June 1st, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Chair is also an aye. That's 5-0. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Oh, whoa, Mr. Janino,
Nice try, Mr. Giannino.
before you go.
Nice try.
Have a seat, my
I'm
friend.
not retired yet.
It's too early in the agenda.
You want to come back up? Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Priest.
I think that, the Treasurer Collector Department is a fantastic case study in, the reformation and adjustment, toward, what we've been talking about when it comes to succession planning and, growth planning and making adjustments. And not only has Gary come in over the last 5 years, right? It's been, and worked to do that, but he's done it with the department, right? And, found strengths across the department and provided people opportunities within the department. And, I think positioned the department for the future, which I think is critical when we look at, the growth of each department and the growth of the municipality is looking ahead, not just kind of maintaining the status quo, right? And so, Gary, truly appreciate what you've done over the last 5 years in the role as treasurer collector. I appreciate folks like Anna coming on board, seeing that vision and jumping in and helping out, right? And everybody else in the department, for rowing in the same direction and really, committing to that vision. I look forward to seeing Anna, you in that role. Obviously, if you need anything from us, we're here. I think that we're a pretty active and involved board, as Gary might lament on some occasion. And Gary, while your tenure as an employee of the town has only been 5 years, you've dedicated so much of your own personal time to this community that I'd be remiss in saying that although it's been 5 years as our treasurer collector, you've been serving the community for, 30 years?
40.
40? 50? How old are you, Gary? Gee.
Decades. We count it in decades.
But truly, thank you for everything that you've done for this community. And, I hope that maybe with a little respite, you can come back and bother us some more in another role.
My commute's only a mile and a half, so,
Walking distance if you wanted it to be.
yes.
But thank you. And
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Joe?
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I don't know where to stop because I'm not, sorry, I have to do this. I was told this 11 years ago, sit up straight and ready, by somebody. This is a tough one for me. Gary's been around a very, very long time. We're not going to go into how many years. We've become personal friends outside of this whole town hall thing. To see him walk away from this town and the stuff that he's accomplished through his career in Burlington, I'm hoping that he stays on somewhere along the way, whether it's town meeting or somewhere else. His knowledge and his reasoning is incredible. He's always been the guy that has done what's right for Burlington. There's no personal agenda with Gary at all. So I'm not going to sit here and say he did this and he did that, he did this, but I am going to say this, Gary. You've been absolutely incredible for this town of Burlington. You've done stuff in this town that people won't even know, and they don't know unless they've sat in this seat or that seat, which you've sat in every one of these seats along the way. I can't give you enough acclamates on what you've done. You're truly, truly Burlingtonite, even though you're from Medford. But that's okay. We'll let that slide right now. You've picked a wonderful person to follow in your footsteps. Andrew, if you can do half the job he did, we're going to be great again for another 10 years. All right? But Gary, from me, thank you very much. Appreciate everything you've done in this town, really. Thank you.
Jimmy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gary, try to write down your history for the town of Burlington.
We have enough paper.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to think, town meeting, Ways and Means, this board, back to town meeting, then treasurer collector. Did I have that right?
That's correct.
So as my colleagues have said, that's decades of service to this town, not count all the other volunteering events and boards you've been on. Again, as Joe just said, you are part of this town. You are part of the history of Burlington in so many different ways, and the decisions you've made and the choices and all those things throughout these decades have really improved the town, improved the quality of life of the residents, and next person up, like I said to David earlier, very big shoes to fill, but based on your qualifications, Anna, I think you'll be fantastic. Another great example of succession planning, and Gary, wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much, Gary, for all of your service to the town. I'll just echo what everyone else has already said, but, and maybe propose, considering Nick's assessment of what you've been able to do with the Treasurer's Department, maybe come back and look at some of our other departments and see how we can make them more efficient and make the adjustments, because I really do believe, like Joe said, you always have Burlington's best interest in mind. So keep that in mind. Maybe down the line, that could happen. But thank you again for all of your work, and best of luck to Anna.
Thank you.
I know we're in good hands.
I have one question.
Thank you.
I have one question. Anna, when I walk in the office to talk to Gary about stuff, he always gives me a hard time.
It's not going to change.
Could I still get the same thing?
Yeah, it's not going to
Still
change.
get that?
Literally, yeah, I tell them, well, don't worry, I'll do exactly.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll make sure that everybody.
I'll feel the love. All good.
Gary, thank you for everything. I mean, the board has expressed it, and you're literally part of the fabric of this town and part of what has also made this town great. And I think Joe nailed it when he said that you've always had the best interests of Burlington at heart. And I think that's all any of us up here could strive to do or should want to do, is not think about ourselves, not think about our home, but the best interests of the town in every decision you make. And I can say without uncertainty that you've done that, and you've answered the charge on the call, and you've been an unbelievable asset for this town. And we are entirely grateful. So thank you, and good luck with retirement. Enjoy it.
Thank you. It's been an honor and privilege to serve the town in many different capacities, from the legislative to the executive to being a department head. And it's something as I say, I've been honored, and it's just been a fun ride. And I'm not leaving town, so, and I'm sure John has some ideas for me, but we'll see where we go with it.
No, I don't want to, I'll just echo what everybody else said, and to say the town will miss Gary a lot, and I will personally miss Gary a lot. Not only is he a great guy, he's a great role model. He's a tremendous resource for us, from his long, successful career in the business world to his time here on the select board and in the town in many different capacities. He's invaluable counsel to me every day. He helped me mold and shape my leadership style. And the job isn't always easy in the treasurer's office. You oftentimes have to talk to people that aren't thrilled about something, but the whole department does. And Gary certainly leads by example. He's professional and kind at all times. So thank you for indulging me for a minute.
The last word, Jim?
Gary, thank you. All you need to say.
I'm left-handed, so I have to go counterclockwise.
All right. Our next meeting on the, item on the agenda is a town clerk. Couple of designees and officers. Our new town clerk, Ms. Priest.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I left my backup at the office, sorry. So there's the two appointments that are necessary. Amy's carried these roles under the town clerk's office for the time she's been here, and we just need it updated and for the board to take a vote so that we can put everything in place.
Mr. Neesmith, can we take them together, or should we do two separate votes? or-
I think since it's going to the state, you should probably do them separate.
Okay, so I'll take a motion for either one.
Can I just ask a question before?
Sure, yes, absolutely.
So I know this is sort of like a formality, but is being designated as the State Ethics Commission Municipal Liaison and the Records Officer designation, does that come with any sort of training or?
So I've already done some training with Amy in regards to the ethics. That's the emails we get every year in regards to the code of ethics that we take the state training for. I go in this system, I remove somebody today who's no longer on an elected or appointed board. I've added people who need to get the emails, so it's pretty straightforward, and the state offers trainings as well, so.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
I also have a question.
Sure.
In terms of the records access officer, it said in the backup that it could be one or more people. As town clerk, are you the only records access officer?
For the town, yes. I believe they have a different one for the schools.
Okay. Would it make any sense for, and I know you're only a couple weeks on the job here, but would it make any sense to have a second RAO on staff should you be indisposed?
So I can double check on that, but I did sign letters authorizing this office staff to act on my behalf on certain pieces, and I can make sure that this is covered in that piece.
Okay, as long as that meets state regulation, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Any other discussion or questions? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Approve state design.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Chair's aye, that's 5-0 on the state ethics designee.
I'll make a motion that we appoint the new town clerk, Jennifer Priest, as the records access officer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
You're all set?
So Lynn, do I have to wait to 7:10 to do the public hearing?
No, it says in there, 6 on or after.
Okay. So our next item on the agenda is a transfer of license for the liquor cabinet. Going to open the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the advertisement as printed.
Second.
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. Chair's also an aye, so it's 5-0. And we are ready to roll. Good evening. You can introduce yourselves and why we're here.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, my name is Tom Truax, an attorney in Salem, Massachusetts, and I'm appearing on behalf of the proposed licensee, which is Abjapapa Enterprise, Inc., doing business as the liquor cabinet, and the address is 34A Wynn Street. With me to my right is Sandeep Patel. He is the treasurer of the secretary of the corporation. He's a 50% shareholder in the corporation. And to my left is his son, Harsh Patel. He's the president and treasurer of the corporation. He too is a 50% shareholder in the corporation. He is also the proposed license manager. The application, as you've indicated, is before you as a transfer application. The underlying transaction is a sale of substantially all the assets of the business of the liquor cabinet. It's fairly straightforward. The corporation is buying everything at the liquor cabinet, and there is financing being provided by Rockland Trust Company. Rockland Trust requires and is asking, as part of the application package, approval of a pledge of license and a pledge of the alcohol inventory as collateral for its loan for this transaction. As for experience, Mr. Harsh Patel, he has been training one time a week since January 15th. Town Pantry, which is a package store here in Burlington, being run by his cousin, and will continue to do so until the closing. So he should have about 6 months under his belt of training by the time we get to closing. In addition, he has owned and operated 2 convenience stores for the past 2 years, one in Medford, 4 years, and one in Medford and one in Woburn. While they aren't package stores selling beer and wine, They are selling tobacco products, which are the same carding requirements. And as he indicated to me, there's been no disciplinary action over those past 4 years at any of those locations. Finally, Mr. Patel is BAT certified, which is beverage alcohol training. It's through the Mass Package Store Owners Association. It's similar to TIPS. I think it's great, better than TIPS, and most towns like it better because there is an actual training session. It's in person, that sort of thing. As for store operation, be no change other than the change of ownership. Store hours will remain the same. Store layout will remain the same. They intend to retain at least 1 or 2 of the employees, so there will be continuity in terms of employment there and in terms of interaction with the customers. And all in all, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey operation of ownership, and we would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'll open up to the board if anyone has any questions. Joe?
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in. You're just going to sell, he's going to sell the license to you, move on, and you're going to take over the store. The only comments I really have is Dave has been incredible to this town. If you do half of what he's done for this town of Burlington, it would be amazing. The stuff he has given away and the classes he has adopted and the golf tournaments he has run, he's probably the most giving guy in the town of Burlington. I understand that you've got a couple other stores in Woburn and stuff like that, and I'm not asking you to do anything for the town. I'm just telling you what we're losing as him selling the license to you. He is a personal friend. He's been around forever. He's done, I can't even tell you how much he's done for this town. So I wish you all the best. I'm definitely in favor of this. I wish David all the best in his retirement. I just hope that things go well. And if you need me, I'm across the street.
Both the Patels, his father and son, he has 12 stores in this area.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you still have your Burlington stores.
Yeah, he's got a couple in Burlington.
Right, so he's familiar with the area. He stays up in the area. He's a fixture in this North Shore area, and his son is following in his footsteps. So I think you'll have a good. I mean, I don't know Dave personally. I've heard about him. I've heard the stories, how he's a nice guy and what have you, and he's run that place for a long time. We know that. So I think you'll have a good ownership there.
The only thing I'll say is he's above nice. He really is.
That's great.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I wish Dave the best of luck as well, and I wish you all the best of luck with your new endeavor. And I was happy to hear that you might be retaining some of the clerks there. I know Steve there has been there for decades, really lovely fixture of the community. He's a Woburn guy, but he's a fixture in Burlington. So would love to see, I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but I would just advocate and put a good word in for Steve. He's, I think he would help provide that continuity, and he knows that place like the back of his hand. So that's all. Everything looked good, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, like Joe said, thank Dave for all he's done for the town, for the residents, his fundraising, the golfing. Best of luck to him, best of luck to you. The only comment I have is that I'm not sure if you've experienced this yet, but Burlington Police has a very aggressive alcohol compliance check policy, program, that they will, from time to time, send in undercover persons in an attempt to purchase alcohol, and we take any violations very seriously. We don't want kids getting hurt and people getting hurt by any way, in any shape or form, but especially through the purchase of alcohol, because we have so many liquor licenses. So I just wanted to make you aware that we do have the alcohol compliance checks from time to time, and wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Priest?
Nothing further to add, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And everyone pretty much covered what I wanted to say. I wish you the best of luck. Welcome to Burlington again. And
Can I
anyone?
just say one more thing?
Sure.
And I don't know if you've been filled in on that area, but there is going to be a new traffic light being put in right at Mountain Road, so right across from your street. Just a heads up, that's happening this summer, so it might affect your parking lot. But DPW is working on that, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you. All right, if there are no further comments or
One
questions.
quick question. When do you plan on starting?
Well, with the
After
ABCs.
tonight, just tomorrow?
No, we have the ABCC to go through, and
Okay, all right.
and they take they're running about 4 to 6 weeks right now.
All
So
right.
once it goes to them, it's about 4 to 6 weeks. And then we have to get the bank lined up with the, we're probably talking 2 months down the road.
I just want to know how much more time I have to aggravate David.
About 2 months.
I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the transfer of,
Sorry, Jim, we gotta close the public hearing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, my fault.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
So, second.
Oh, do you have to see if there's anybody got?
Before we do that, yeah, is there anyone here, this is a public hearing, and my apologies. Anyone here that wants to speak about this matter? Or anyone online that wants to speak about this matter? So now we'll take a motion. to
Mr.
close.
Chairman, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
500.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the transfer of liquor license or transfer of license from the liquor cabinet 34A Wynn Street to the Patel family as presented by their attorney.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. Chair is also aye. That's 5-0.
Can you just
Congratulations.
add the pledge of license and inventory so I don't get yelled at by the ABCC? Unless you're including that as part of your motion.
Okay.
All right,
I believe you said as presented, which would be in
As presented.
in the paperwork.
That's fine.
Okay. So we did it 5-0?
Yes.
And you're all set. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Hope
you
all
very
goes
much.
well for you. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is a fun one. It's an update on a micro art gallery that's coming to town. It's going to be in a trailer, and we were funding this through a grant, and our Economic Development Director, Melissa Dentakis, is here to talk about it, and it's something you'll be seeing around town soon to promote public art.
Great, thank you so much for having me. For the record, my name is Melissa Dentakis. I head up the Economic Development Office, and I'm here this evening to request approval for the micro gallery placement on the town common. And we're looking to place this 20-foot trailer along the Bedford side of Town Common. And you can see it there in the image. It is that small pink kind of blur, thank you very much, cursor. And it has a couple white dots by it. This, as Chairman Espejo said, is a project that has been funded through the state, and the idea is part of our larger placemaking efforts and strategies in the town center to bring in fresh foot traffic and fresh interest. This one in particular is an intersection kind of public art to spark creativity and public engagement, really. And the idea with this is the placement on the common is creating more public access to art and enlivening our public spaces. So the request for the common use is from May 5th through August 31st. This is an update based on conversations with the rec department. Kelly Lehman has talked to Brendan Egan, and we had kind of toured the common area for the optimal location of the micro gallery. And we determined here might be able to complement the series of summer activities and programs and kind of add, a new life, a new dimension to those programs as well. And during this time, we'd have two art installations, one by Jai Hart and Linda Dolak. And those are two different artists. After a series of 6 weeks, it will turn over and have a new installation. And then our goal after the kind of period in Town Common will be to take it to the town center business area and place it ideally in near or around True North, so we could kind of locate it for our beer gardens for September. I think just, this is, the intention with this also is that it's mobile. So if any, issues came up, we could easily remove it. And it just offers a new opportunity for programming without a lot of expenditure in, new or major infrastructure. So With that, I respectfully request the approval for town common usage, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Judy, could you put up the art that's going to go in that we had in our backup? I think it'd be cool for the scouts to see I like the candy bar thing.
Yeah, so I was looking.
Yeah. So these are the pieces that are going to go in our mobile art trailer, and it's moving to the common, if the board sees fit. Does anyone, while we're waiting, have any questions for Melissa, or?
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Melissa, first off, thank you. Right. The more I've seen this come to life, the more that I really like the idea. I know that I was a little hesitant at first with this one in particular. But I think that like having rotating artists, having it in places where people are going to either already be or, are moving through, I think is a really great idea. I love the fact that it's mobile. As I was looking at the backup, 2 questions popped in my head. The first was, it looked like in the backup that at night the sign was going to have to be lit. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know how bright that's going to be?
You know what? I do not know kind of the light decimals, so we could double check that.
Okay. I would just double check it, not that I think that's going to affect anyone because we're not facing residential in that area. I just don't want it to be a distraction and cause any issues. And then I guess on the same idea of at night, right, is how is it being anchored when it's not in motion, and we're not encouraging people to go look at this at night, right? Like the lights are off on the inside and it's like at night it's closed.
It will remain closed, true. At night, should still be visible, though.
Okay.
It is connected to a solar panel, so it's not tied to any kind of energy source. It's renewable in that sense. So the sign and the lights inside are generated by solar. I think we could put a timer on it if there's interest in figuring out to turn it off. I think that was one thing we haven't looked at to date.
Okay. And then in terms of it being anchored, like, I mean, is it just going to be sitting there with blocks under the tires? Like, how is it staying stationary?
That's what's been proposed by our DPW facility staff currently.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great idea. I support this all the way. Here's my question. If it's going to be left there in an open space, anything like that is a target for vandalism. I know with security cameras now, they're wireless, they're very cheap, there's electricity there. Do we have any plans, or should we think about putting at least 1 or 2 wireless cameras on it, and then at least in posting that it's under surveillance, because it's subject to vandalism, and I'd hate to see something like this get damaged and already start out in a negative way for such a positive thing. So I think we should look at that, and again, very, very cheap there. You can watch them on your phone and save the recordings if something happens. But I think the mere deterrent that if it's on camera, and we sign it saying it's on camera, would deter any attempt at vandalism. Just a thought. That's all.
Thank you, Jim. Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks, Melissa, for coming in. I'm really excited about this. It's a really interesting, different project for the town. And I know everyone has different thoughts about art on the common, so that can be a controversial subject, but I think the very nature of this gallery being mobile means that it's temporary, and that, as people are getting introduced to this micro gallery and that concept, the common is a great place for it to start, especially at that time of year. It's very visible. A lot of events, there's weekly concerts and magic shows, and, that'll bring the people over to that area. I had questions about the original placement, but now, since then, it's moved, so I'm trying to frame that in a different way. So where it's being placed, how does it look like, which way is the art facing, I guess?
So that is a good question. The art will be kind of facing the gazebo, yes, towards the inside of the common.
And then how does it look from the back? Because that's, sort of right up on Bedford Street right there.
Right. So what we wanted to do was angle it so that it's not a hard perpendicular exactly to the sidewalk. So it will be angled and situated in the green space right there, so it's not against the sidewalk. And that is because it is a blank spot currently on the other end. So what we're looking at is trying to activate the other side with either some town signage or some creative fun decals that say, take a look on the other side, or a QR code has been mentioned. So that's still a little bit work in progress. But as the sign stands now, it does meet our sign bylaw. And I think, yeah, we also tried to position it so the back of it would face more of that parking lot for the post office.
Okay,
When you're out there, you notice it's not totally against the front of that building, actually. It probably would be set back a little bit. So it's not trying to create a wall in front of any of those buildings.
Okay. Great, that helps. And then what are those white dots? Are they a placeholder for something?
The white dots are placeholders. The rec team and we had talked about maybe some Adirondack chairs or some seating around it that feels like it's a place to go and that you can linger and be there. So they're supportive of that idea. I have yet to cost them out, though.
I like that, that's cute. Is there any thoughts around sort of an opening ceremony or something to introduce it to town?
Yes, that's a great idea. So the artist who's been working to promote and coordinate the art inside, Catherine LeCompte, she might be online. Just double check. We are ahead of schedule, so she might not be online yet. But she had been waiting till we got this approval, then to coordinate a grand opening or a ribbon cutting, and that we would notify and kind of coordinate with the select board so that we can do that, a proper ribbon cutting. And we have yet decided that date. I think we want to probably work with rec on that. And I think just an add-on to one of your comments about the art too, I think at this point in time too, as an introduction for the art and the installations inside, Catherine has been conscientious about trying to do more of a family-friendly focus on the content. They are more neutral at this point, more whimsical. The artists are known, and they have, we gave you a sample in the backup of some of the art that they've done. So for better or worse, not trying to get controversial with the art at this point in time.
I think that's probably a safe way to go. And then my last question is, since we have an existing public arts committee in town, has there been collaboration with that committee in any way with this project?
I think Catherine's been in communication with Barbara LaRue on the project. They have not yet invited us or been part in collaborating more actively, so I think that's something we're looking forward to doing.
Okay, great. That's all. Thank you, Melissa.
Joel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just really quick, so the way the trail you just explained is going to be, the backside of it's going to be on Bedford Street, correct? Some type of an angle. That covers the lighting, because the backside has no light going out to the street, right?
Correct.
It's only one side, so it's the inside is going to face that, so that covers the lighting side of it, right? Okay, so we got that covered. What about Truck Day and all, will it be moved for those days when they're having, cops and cars and Truck Day? Will it be moved off the common for that? Now that we have the sculptures going on that one side, I don't remember what's going on that side or what the board approved on that side, because I wasn't there for that. But will that still be there for that day where they have so many trucks going in? Or are we gonna move that for that one day, just for cops and cars? And they have, what is it, the day for Burlington, where they put all the,
Celebrate Burlington.
Celebrate Burlington?
Right. Yeah.
So is it still going to be there for those days? I mean, I don't have a problem with it, I'm just kind of curious, so that the rec department will know ahead of time, like, or whoever runs Truck Day this time of the year, or whoever runs Cops and Cars, which is Bernie, is that a spot that he can't use now for the cars, or is that a spot they can't use for the trucks? That's the only question I have.
We walked this space with Kelly Lehman from the rec department, and from my understanding is that the location is optimal to make sure that all their programming runs smoothly. In the event it does not, or they need more space, that it can be moved. Ideally, we wouldn't want to move it too much once it's placed, because once an installation's in there, we just don't want to, take it across town, because the installation could break or anything like that, or it could fall. So we want to make sure we have it set up for the 6 weeks. And at this point in time, I think Truck Day we may miss, given the schedule. That's in the fall. But Celebrate Burlington.
Awesome.
Yes. Celebrate Burlington, we will be there. The concerts in the park, we will be there. And
The concerts don't grab as many people, well, they
Right.
do grab a lot of people, I shouldn't say that, but they don't, it's not like Truck Day. Truck Day, every single spot up there is covered. And then Cops and Cars, that's another one that's always has, so many cars in it, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
just a question, that's all. All right?
All right, Melissa, this is awesome. Thank you for the update. I'm very excited to see it out there. So just again, to clarify on those dates, Kelly did say those dates would be okay, May 5th to, so that's like next week. Week and a half.
Well, that, we did kind of create a little bit more of a shoulder timeframe. So we started May 5th. We're still waiting for the electricity to be plugged in, to make sure everything's working and running, and then we need to have the artists do the installation. So I think I'll probably be back to the board with an update on the grand opening, and really talk about kind of like the schedule of events once we have the green light on placement.
And then we're going to have it there all the way till the end of August.
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, you said probably near True North, TBD.
Yeah, so idea would be to bring it down towards the town center business area, locate it so that it can be, it gets the most eyes on it, maybe during some of our beer gardens, and kind of establish it possibly in the Pocket Park. There's a couple places that we've been talking to, Shaw's, Mike Murray, and those locations down there too.
Did our guests have any questions about the mobile art installation, or any suggestions or anything you want to see in there? Now's your chance to ask or give us some input.
They seem super excited.
We'll have to see after it's set up, maybe after you see it set up. All righty, well,
Real quick, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
yes.
So, sorry, you said that it's going to be there till the end of August, but the backup has it on the common. Is that what that was that I didn't look at? Thank you. If I had looked at the updated thing, I'd know. Okay, so till August 31st. Okay. And then Mr. DeBona, who's online now from ZBA, was kind enough to let me know that the lumens is 90 lumens per square foot.
Oh, thank you.
So as long as it hits that, I have no problem with it.
Okay,
And as long as Rec's good with the dates, then, shouldn't be an
Okay.
issue.
Okay, I'm running both, waiting.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, comments?
This is just an update, right?
Yeah, just an update. I think we're,
approval, actually, the recommendation is approval for the town common.
Okay, all right.
So I think, Mr. Chairman, if you will, I think if you are, you could maybe take a straw poll, and we can housekeeping approve it after. It sounds like everyone's in favor, but it was listed on the agenda as update mistakenly.
Oh.
The new guy didn't do a great job getting the descriptor, sounds like. But if everybody were in favor, then,
But I mean,
no, not that new guy, this new guy.
that is good. Couldn't we still, I mean, if someone made a motion, we could still take a vote.
it's on the agenda,
It's on the
but
agenda
as an update.
as an update.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we
I didn't catch
don't
that.
have another week.
Yeah, we can do a housekeeping vote next meeting if everybody was in favor. It wouldn't have to slow
Yeah,
it down.
and Melissa, you don't have to be here for that.
Okay.
We can also do it the way we do all our other town common approvals. We can send it to you.
Sure.
And I'll vote it that way.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem. It's just a housekeeping thing.
Okay.
We look forward to seeing it.
Yay. And then I'll be back for more grand opening, more kind of the fun part.
Yeah, let us know.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm still here for the next one.
Oh, yeah, more fun. Now you are here for an approval for our social equity marijuana policy.
Yes, so kind of transitioning from some of the placemaking things to thinking about some policies around cannabis and social equity. And I know you guys have heard this in the past, but just for some background for folks who might be listening, It was, I think, 2008 where Massachusetts had decriminalized marijuana. And then in 2016, they made recreational marijuana legal. So kind of part of the story is, with the backup, is that in 2022, Charlie Baker created a new law, and that new law was an act relative to equity in the cannabis industry. And that was really to, require all the communities in Massachusetts to put in place policies that help address some of the criminalization on some of the kind of disenfranchised communities that were hit hardest with the criminalization back before it was when it was illegal and criminalized. So groups kind of, disenfranchised, communities of color had been, suffered the most consequences from having this law illegal. And so what this tries to do now is really have every community put policies in place that says, now that it's legal, we are adopting policies for entrepreneurs that are coming here to Burlington or any other community, and we're taking consideration and cues from the Cannabis Commission and saying, hey, if you fall under one of these certified social equity program participants or an economic empowerment priority applicant, that you would have some additional help along the process in Burlington. And that is really to support people who had, really suffered under a system that was affecting certain communities. So at this point, in your packet that is provided earlier in the backup, there is a staff report that highlights the policy that is written in the background. So right back in the back, you have the policy itself, the scope, the applicability, as well as what it does. And this is a template. This is actually from the best practices we have based on our legal team as well, that it's reviewed it. And I just want to note that the requirement from the state is that we comply by May 1st. So it is imperative that we do adopt this so that we can remain in compliance. Some people have asked, questions like, well, if it's, if we do not have recreational marijuana, do we need to adopt it? And we still do. We still allow for medical, so we are still required to adopt a policy around this. Another thing I want to note that, came to light after the submission is that part of our policy included that last line to waive the special permit fee. In fact, it was brought to my attention that the Select Board does not have authority to waive that fee, so I'd like to recommend that we eliminate that and strike that from the policy. It does not affect the compliance, and it would still allow this policy to move forward without any, issues or concern. It would still meet the state's requirements. I can go in a little bit more detail, but part of it is really just, when you see the bullets there, it says a policy overview. It says Burlington will adopt approval process ensuring that for every general cannabis business approved, an equity designated entrepreneur that's certified by the state will also be approved. So what we're trying to say through this policy is, if we have one general entrepreneur, we're also going to support and help an equity entrepreneur. And that's really what this policy is trying to do. And how do we support it? We're going to just put clear language on our website, direct them to my office so that I can specifically walk them through. And that really, in a lot of ways, meets the requirement. And I think we might have our attorney, Liz Light, in here, who could speak to and answer any other questions. But that's what we're asking you to approve tonight.
Mr. Chairman, if I just add on to that, I think this board has heard about this for going on a year now, because these laws were originally put in place and required to be adhered to by last May. However, there was a one-year delay in that, and in this May is when the state can start fining you for not having this. And I think it's important to say again, even though we've said it many times, that even though Burlington doesn't have a dispensary in town, in fact, we even have a bylaw that prohibits retail sales of marijuana, every city and town is required to allow medicinal marijuana sales in town. We don't currently have any, but we could. So we are required to have this, and we have worked with Liz Leiden, who's also online, that if there were any legal or technical questions that the board had, she'd be able to help answer them.
Okay, I'll open up to the board for any questions or comments.
I guess, thanks, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
My only question is, once this policy is in place, then who's in charge of enforcing it? Is it you? Is it economic development, or is it administration and select board?
Yeah, I would say it's town administration, but because the way we had set it up, that it would fall under economic development, so I would be charged with setting up and making sure our website meets the requirements and put out the information that, given I'm the most familiar with it, and that, it being a business-oriented, effort, that it would come through me.
Okay, that's helpful.
Mr. Chairman, could I just add that the license E would need to be approved by the Cannabis Control Commission first?
Yes.
So we wouldn't have to be approving their license or any of that. It would just be, just like a new business coming to town, they would go through the same process as everybody else. It would just be the Economic Development Office that would help guide them through this policy.
Okay.
Right, they're designated by the state, so they already have been vetted and get the designation, and then they come through us, and that's kind of where we have the language and just forms, and that show that we've adopted this policy, so.
It's just a weird topic. It's been a hot topic of discussion for the last, 6 months, or just the issue in general. So it's just a strange thing, but it just seems like it's almost like it's a requirement by the state that every town, whether you allow it or not, adopts a policy like this. We kind of have to do it. It's, I just want to, let people know, we're not approving recreational marijuana. This is something that's required by the state to have in place for when and if a business comes, in Burlington, a medical business, because that's all we
Right.
allow.
Right.
That this is in place. And that's all I want to say. I don't really have any specific questions on the policy. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a real quick question. What areas in town are zoned for this?
Medical marijuana is allowed by special permit in some of the industrial zones. I don't know all of them. I think there's 3 industrial zones designated with special permit for medical marijuana.
So there's 3 of them that are industrial zone. Does that mean like Third Ave?
No, I think it's,
Sex Turnpike.
Vandergraaf,
Yep.
A Street.
Thank you. Just didn't know what it was.
Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, Melissa, something you said made me question how I understand this. So I'm going to back up for a hot second. You had mentioned that for every one that applies, another one is considered. Did I hear that correctly? So that means that if we say yes to one, automatically the state's going to say, hey, you got to look at another one too?
No, I think if you don't mind, Nick, I think the way it works, and we also have Liz to correct us if either one of us get it wrong, is if we approved, which we can't right now because we don't allow retail, but if we approved a license and it wasn't an equity-based license, that the next one would have to be an equity-based license.
Oh, so there's just the next one in line. So the first one comes through, it's not equity-based. We say, yeah, it's medicinal, right? It fits all the requirements. The next one that we consider has to be equity-based in the state.
It has to be designated the equity applicant by the state. And that's what they call kind of the one-to-one rule. So you allow for a general, and then you have a spot for equity designated entrepreneur.
Okay. And through the chair, if I can ask Attorney Leiden to pitch in as well, because I can see she's got that look on her face that she wants to say something. So I'm curious to get her perspective as well.
Sure.
Sure. So, for the record, Liz Leiden, I'm with Mead, Tellerman and Costa. And this policy, so the piece of the policy that says that you shall approve on a 1-to-1 ratio, there are other options for that portion of compliance. However, because we're up against the deadline, the other options aren't really an option in reality right now because they require a town meeting vote. This is the easiest way to comply by the deadline. And so what that means is that you have to grant a host community agreement and all other approvals that come after that for a social equity applicant before you can grant one for a non-social equity applicant on a 1-to-1 basis. And so that means that if someone comes to you, if you're offering a license, whether it be medical or non-medical, and they need to go through the process of getting approved by the town, which includes the host community agreement and then the zoning and the building permit and everything else, you would only allow a non-social equity applicant after you've allowed a social equity applicant.
Okay. Thank you for that clarity. I appreciate that.
Liz, I have a question while we're at it. What's the penalty for not complying by May 1st? We're not going to be able to sell marijuana, which we already don't do?
No, you actually can. Well, you can't because you'd have to grant a host community agreement and they'd have to go through the process. But if an applicant complains to the CCC, they can impose fines. But the fines would be up to the amount of impact fees you've collected in the prior year, which it sounds like you haven't collected any. And so, you know, the fines are not really that much of a threat, but they can impose other fines as well if they so choose. But where you don't have any operating establishments, or if you don't have any operating establishments, it's unlikely that that would occur. And it is still discretionary whether or not you want to grant an HCA. So if you grant none, you're still, and you pass this policy, you're still in compliance.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Or we've been over this, we've seen this for the past years, JD mentioned. We don't have any open medical mid dispensaries, medicinal dispensaries, say that 10 times fast. So it doesn't really affect us, but I guess we do have to have a policy in place in case someone did want to come to town and open up shop, hang up a shingle, and sell marijuana medicinally. So with that said, I'll take a motion striking the special permit fee off of the policy.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the social equity marijuana policy minus bullet point number 5 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? The chair is also aye. That's 5-0. Approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thanks, Melissa.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is some warrant articles. Mr. Denizio, you want to lead us down this road?
Sure. So we have the DPW team here to help give you an explanation of each, but in your backup that you, in an email that you got from me too, also had the big giant backup book for town meeting. And there's a dozen or so warrant articles that the DPW has put forward. The first 8 or 9 of them are going to be in our pay-as-you-go capital warrant, Article number 4. And then the others all will be separate warrant articles, and we can discuss the values and the funding sources of each as you go. I thought the way we proposed this work was introduce the article, the DPW team will give a description of the project, and then we can open it for questions, and then we can either vote them at the end, or you can vote them one by one if you think that's warranted. So if that works, I'll kick off. The first one is Article 4-4. This is for the drainage repair and stream cleaning, annual article for $200,000. The funding source is from free cash. This is part of Article 4. So all but one of them will be coming from free cash. So I think if you guys want to give just a quick
Sure.
description of what it is, I mean, you get this one every year, so probably don't need too much detail.
Yeah, Tom Hayes, Town Engineer. So this is an annual appropriation to do, remove road sediment out of various streams throughout town. It's been in effect, probably, our first stream cleaning was in the late 80s, and it's been an ongoing program. It's a good program, helps relieve some nuisance flooding in the neighborhoods.
Okay, do we want to vote them individually, or do you want to?
If you want to if you have questions on them, we can.
Okay, any
do
questions?
them, or we can move on and.
We can move on. If anyone wants to hold one and vote it separately, we can do that.
I mean, do we want to ask questions as we go?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so just a couple quick questions. All right,
Sure.
thank you. The program listed, you're probably just having a issue reading it. That's me, not you guys. I see like stream cleaning 2024, stream cleaning 2026, but like next to each one's only like one road listed. So does that mean like in the calendar year or fiscal year 26, we're only doing that one?
That one stream.
And that one stream's costing us the 200K?
It's running at about $400 a linear foot.
Okay.
So depending on the length of the stream determines what the cost is.
Okay, so it's length of stream plus however long, well, based on what the equipment can do that we're renting.
Yeah, well, it's bid out. So we bid it out as a lump sum for the project. So, we have, we go out, we'll survey the stream, we'll determine how much sediment's there, and then they bid it, and it's pretty much a lump sum project.
All right, next stupid question is, how much would it cost us just to buy our own machine?
Well, we have a Vector, and we're buying a new Vector. That's one of the articles that's in front of you tonight, but it's not the same. It's not the same piece of equipment. It's a huge Vector, and I don't think we would have to have a new crew. It wouldn't be cost-effective to buy a $2 million piece of equipment and put guys in the stream we'd have to have a new crew to actually do it, and they'd have to do production. They'd have to do it like full-time during the season to make it work.
Okay, so I know we'll get there, but the Vector that we're proposing to purchase now is more intended for what in comparison to this?
Well, that's more for, jetting sewers, for doing minor excavation, so you can excavate with the Vector. You can actually suck out a hole so that, you don't damage a gas line or a water line or whatnot. Cleaning out drainage structures, the high-tech drainage structures you can't use a clamshell on. You have to use a Vector because there's only a very small port where you can go into this. They used to be called BMPs, I forget what they call them now, stormwater control systems or something. They changed the lingo on it, but in any case, these high-tech catch basins, you don't really clean them out with Vector. So those are the type of things that this Vector, and this Vector works pretty much full-time now. The sewer crews are always out, whether they're, jetting, sewer lines, cleaning out catch basins, or helping with excavation. It's I don't know how often, maybe a couple times a week it's out.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, they're two different, I mean, the Vectors are kind of built in two different ways, one for vertical suction and one for horizontal suction. So obviously the one that we're getting is more for excavation, doesn't work well over long horizontal distances.
Interesting. Okay, very cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions on 4.4? All right, let's move on.
So 4.5 is a stormwater retrofit, another annual item, and this is for $100,000, also from free cash.
So the stormwater retrofit program is required by the EPA under the stormwater permit. So we have to have a running list of 5 projects where, mostly parking lots, where we will retrofit with the, again, these high-tech stormwater systems so that they clean the stormwater much more efficiently than what they are now. So we did Lower Simons last year. We put in an infiltration field. The next one up was the high school, but that's going to be on hold for now until the school decides what they're doing. I think we'll be doing Pine Glen. Next year, we plan on reclaiming the parking lot, so we'll upgrade the drainage with that money. So It's required, $100,000 doesn't go very far, but it does something, and that's what the EPA wants us to do, is something. They don't have a performance standard, they don't require us to meet, like, entire upgrade of the system, but we will do something to make the stormwater quality much better.
Any questions on this one?
My only question was on the high school parking lot. I'm just maybe holding off on that because we don't know what's happening. That was the first one. So now I was,
Yeah, we've already bumped that.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, the next one's 4.6. This is the annual vehicle replacement, usually one line for multiple vehicles, and it's $735,000 this year, also coming from free cash.
Yep, so this is excluding the Vector truck. Consists of, I guess, 4 vehicles. However, the cemetery backhoe, which is the first vehicle listed, a 2011, we are proposing to replace it with 2 minis. 2 smaller pieces of equipment to replace one. We believe it'll help so the locations that we're getting into in the cemeteries that aren't used are the older sections that are tighter to maneuver around. And so having minis will hopefully reduce any risk of hitting headstones. They're also lighter weight, so hopefully that reduces the damage to the grass moving in and out. Additionally, the backhoe, we looked at replacing it with an equivalent, an equal backhoe, but over the 14 years or so, they've started making the bases, the size of the backhoes bigger, so it's for the same backhoe, the footprint is actually going to be bigger, making it tougher to get into the spot. So cost-wise, it's slightly more. I don't think it's too significant. I think we did get a cost to just do a backhoe. It would be maybe 20 grand less. So we're kind of in the same ballpark, getting 2 pieces of equipment versus 1, and it will also help. We can operate. We can use 2 pieces of equipment at the same time instead of 1. One of the next ones is our water W5. That's our water and sewer division's main dump truck. It has the most capacity for dump body. That's a 2012. We've had, I believe, already at least 1 welding repair to the body of it. So the dump body is pretty rough shape, and we'll need a new dump body. That alone, if we needed to replace it, is like in the $20,000 to $25,000 range. So that, along with the other rot on the frame, we believe it's time to replace. And then the last vehicle on here, H7, that's our Highway Division's bucket truck. That's a 2012. We've been having similar issues with that. It's usually on our 10-year capital plan, as the vehicles come up, we at the year that they're due for replacement, we'll do an inspection on them. If we believe it might not pass inspection the next year, that's when we finally propose it. If we think we can get a few more years out of it, we'll defer it. So pretty much all the vehicles we'll ever have on our plan is going to involve frame rot and that sort of thing. So we've also had some issues with the actual bucket portion, that kind of gives a broad summary.
Any questions on this item?
I have a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the request is for $735 for these 4 vehicles, is that right? And then I'm just looking at like the summary page, 2026 DPW vehicle replacement list with the costs of what we're replacing this, and that comes to $535. I don't know, and then the costs within the backup are different too. So, I mean, I know we're working on estimates here and possible increases, but the original request of $735, and then to have it be $535 in the summary, that's $200,000 difference.
Just so, I mean, for each vehicle, we're probably going to put, I believe we put a 15% contingency on it, which is relatively normal. I mean, we pick out anywhere between 10, 15, sometimes 20%, depending on, you know, how far in advance we have to buy them. I mean, I'd have to do with the math here, just to double check to make sure it's 15%.
Okay, I'm not sure what the percentage is on that. It just seemed to have the first page be 735, and then the second page, the math comes out to 535. And then I gotta go through all the other backup and see what all the, it was, to me, it was confusing to me, and I just wonder if it'll be confusing to town meeting, and if something can be said about that in, you know, in the presentation.
So maybe you can show me after what the summary you're looking at is.
Sure.
in,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, if it's this page, that's 735.
This page adds up to 750.
Maybe I have a different one.
Minus SO4, but there's 105, 270, 155, 205.
Okay, so my math was wrong.
Yeah, so like I said, I think there's a 15% contingency. We've already checked back in with all the tariff situations, so they're all kind of estimating at least another $5,000 increase to all these quotes. So we're already eating into the contingency. That's why it's there.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, that's all.
Okay, moving on.
Sorry, one quick clarifying question. Brian, I thought you said that, and maybe I misheard you, we were going to do 2 minis?
Yeah, so the backhoe is a dual function currently, so it has a loader attachment on the front side and the scoop bucket on the back.
I got it.
And so the minis will be one of each.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Quick question.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian, the build-out time, I know like the fire departments, sometimes 2 to 3 years to get the piece of equipment. How is it with regards to DPW equipment? Is it such a long wait?
There's some of them are still long waits. I think we're still waiting on one from 2 fiscal years ago. They're starting to get better. Although there was some uncertainty with the DEP emissions and whether they could sell vehicles, so some of them kind of put a hold on selling vehicles for a certain period. So the equipment is separate. I mean, I think it's going to be a somewhat, you know, a standard lead time. But yeah, I mean, it should be a little better than COVID, but still not the quickest.
So follow-up, now that we have like a track record on this piece of equipment's gonna last 12 to 15 years, would it be prudent to come before us or the town meeting a year before you normally would ask to help cut down that? And explain, I mean, we would understand it because we're talking about it right now, explain to town meeting, it's kind of a preemptive approach of, reactive approach to, it takes 2 years, so we're asking now, but it's not gonna be here for 2 years, or whatever it may take.
Yeah, we do kind of factor some of that in, knowing that we won't get a vehicle for perhaps 2 seasons.
And kudos to your crew for keeping these running so long. I mean, you don't see cars last 13 years, never mind specialized heavy equipment that's out in the snow, the rain, and hopefully, I mean, I'm assuming the new buildings will help protect it a little bit more now that it's protected from the elements. But kudos to your staff for making the stuff run so long, or be viable so long.
I gotta make sure that they know.
All right, moving on.
Next one, Mr. Chairman, for 4-7. This is a Vector skid-mounted Vector piece of equipment, and it's for $40,000, and the funding source would be the sewer enterprise fund.
So this is replacing an existing piece of equipment already. You can see from the photos, same thing, it's dealing with a lot of rot. It's been down our fleet maintenance. Our fleet maintenance will help service it when it starts to have problems. So it's definitely been having problems. Similar, I think it's already had a weld repair done to it. And so primarily what we use this for is it has a small vacuum attachment and it allows us to clean out the water gates. They get packed with road debris over time, and it's really difficult to get them cleaned out to be able to shut off the water when there's a break in adequate time before the road sees more damage from the break. It also, we can also use it to help, a lot of times the people's shut-offs or clean-outs for the water or sewer are in their lawns buried or in a flower garden. So instead of trying to dig, this allows us to suck up a small little area and create less disturbance. So that's a quick summary.
Anyone have any questions or comments on this one? All right, moving on.
Next one, Mr. Chairman, 4-8, Water System Master Plan for $100,000 from free cash.
So this is kind of, we'll cover two items, but primarily on the capital plan, 10-year, prior to me taking over, we had an item for Center Street tank replacement coming up. That was, we actually had that drained down not too long ago, determined with the periodic inspections that it was still in decent condition. So we've deferred it. We'll keep deferring that until it needs replacement. However, the question that came up during that was when it's due for replacement, when we did the water system master plan back, I think in 2016 or so, when we were looking at connecting to MWRA and the viable water sources, it was identified that we had almost too much storage. Too much water storage can lead to aging of water, and that's going to decrease the water quality. And so the question that comes up is, do we even need to replace it? Should we, and if we're never going to get rid of the green leaf tank. That's the primary tank, the largest tank. But do we need Center Street and Blanchard, or can we get rid of one of them? Or would Center Street tank be needed as more of a pressure style tank where it's the bubble on top? It looks kind of like the Space Needle, just for localized pressure and not really the storage. So this will do a big review over the storage tank needs, and then to tie it in also, hopefully our second phase of the MWRA connection will be complete, and we can also revisit go out and actually test the fire flow and verify that the engineer's original model was correct and that we are going to get 6.5 million peak, 3.5 average. And so those are the two big components that this item would address or analyze.
Any questions on this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. How much would it cost of a new tank be?
I don't, I'd have to guess at least 5 to 10 million. I mean, that's just a wild guess.
That's fine. I'm open to wild guesses. Okay, so 5 to 10 million, and the question that we have to entertain going forward is whether or not it's worth having it and spending that kind of money and maintaining it, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the like I said, one of the big currently when the water gets warmer in the summer, that's when we start to see a degradation in the water quality. So we already kind of actively, and things have kind of changed in the system. Before we had the MWRA connection, that kind of section of town was the area that kind of started to, we noticed the degradation first. So historically, we've a lot of times taken Blanchard Road tank completely offline around end of June, beginning of July, as the water warms up, and leave it offline just to reduce the amount of storage volume until like November. So historically, we've already kind of functioned without a tank throughout the summer. Now that MWRA connection, that water, the source is fresh coming in from that way, so we're seeing a little bit of change up. So that's another factor where, perhaps 5-10 years ago, we should address Blanchard, standpipe, and now that maybe that changes and Center Street's no longer needed.
Okay. And spending this $100,000 now, you're saying gives us 10 more years of useful life, according to the backup? Is it 10 years of useful life is the life of the tank?
That's more just for the analysis. Like, so who, you know, if things change 10 years from now, development-wise, and say, you know, build-out goes really crazy and we need to readdress, you know, where the future demand is, are we going to need to upgrade even more if we get a lot of build-out? It's just kind of the typically 10, 15 years, probably communities are looking at reanalyzing this system and doing another study.
Okay, so this $100,000 is gonna give us that time?
Just an engineering study, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. I was just curious, like, what the $100,000 was gonna do in terms of maintenance and life, that's all. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No problem. Anybody else? Moving on.
All right, we're continuing with water. 4-9 is the Greenleaf tank mixing system for $300,000, also from free cash.
So as I mentioned in the previous one, Greenleaf, while there's some uncertainty with the other two tanks, Greenleaf is not going anywhere. Greenleaf also has the most amount of storage volume. And so, as I also mentioned, in the summer, we do get periods of time where the water quality really starts to drop off because of the temperature and the age. And one of the big factors we believe is that the tanks are kind of designed, have an old design where it's one pipe in, the same pipe that comes in to fill it is the same pipe that goes out to supply the town. So basically what you get is a bunch of old water on the top that, because we never empty the stamp pipes, people would start calling it, when the tank gets about half empty is when people start calling with pressure complaints. So all that top half of water just kind of, if it doesn't get mixed around, it just sits on top and ages. The way that most stamp pipes or tanks are designed now is there's one pipe that comes in and it kind of runs to the top of the tank so that the new water dumps in the top of the tank, and then there's a pipe that is at the bottom that exits, so you get a first in, first out type of flow versus what we have now is a first and last out. So this is kind of a retrofit pipe system that, if you can maybe visualize, kind of like a garden hose that goes up to all the way up to the top with a few different sized holes, spaced periodic throughout the vertical lift so that far more water gets dumped at the top, a little bit more, and so it's kind of mixing by the configuration and not by an actual mechanical mixer. We think that's going to hopefully greatly improve the water quality. This should also help address, there is some discussion among Mass DEP to implement some new testing requirements for stamp pipes that currently aren't in place, which we think if this would help meet those future possibilities.
Anyone have any questions or?
Just a quick comment?
Sure.
I always get a little nervous when Mass DEP comes up with new testing requirements. It always seems to affect us. That's all.
All right, moving on.
Mill Pond Dam culvert gates is 4-10, and it's $150,000, also coming from free cash.
So Mill Pond, the reservoir was constructed in the early 70s, and let me pass this out, give you, it might be easier to understand how it's configured.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So when the mill pond was constructed, when the dam was constructed, there are two streams that meet. They ran through the mill pond, and they will go over to Woburn. So in order not to create an impoundment behind the dams, there were 2 pipes that were installed to allow the stream to flow under the dam. So there's actually 2 pipes that meet in the middle that go out and discharge behind the Mill Pond treatment plant over on the Woburn side. There were gates at the entrances, at the inlets, and there's a gate at the outlet. So we have a 24 and 2 42-inch gates. Those gates probably haven't been touched since the 70s, so we're hesitant to try to close them or play with them. So they're needed in the event that we have a breach of this pipe, because the pipe breaches, all the water's going to flow out and flood downstream. So this is something that's been on Russ Mackey, who's the treatment manager, has been on his radar for a while, and it's something that really has to be done. So what we're requesting is design money this year, right?
Yep, 150.
150, and then next year we'll be coming for construction money.
Joe?
Basically, this is preventive maintenance.
Yes.
It's been since the 70s, you said? Oh,
I think it's something in the future we're going to have as part of a maintenance program. So every now and then, once a year, the gates are spun up and down, make sure that they work.
well, that's what I was gonna go there next. Once the new gates are in, can we work on a program that we know they're gonna work for, well, the 70s, that's really a long time we get out of those gates. I don't know if they work, but we got a long time out of them. Okay, thank you, that's all.
Anyone else?
Chairman, just for the record, the design here shows this was designed in October of 1970. So it's been long overdue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so this is for the plans, basically. And then the cost for construction will go to town meeting next year?
Yep.
Is that what you propose for May? And then how long will the construction itself take?
It's probably going to take 1 season. I mean, the big gates, 42-inch gate is, 24 is, I guess 24 is something we deal with, not on, the new water main coming into Burlington is a 24-inch, so it's not like extremely large, but 42-inch gate is huge, so that's why it's looking like so much money.
And then the construction cost is estimated to be $750-ish,
I thought it was,
based on the backup?
Yeah, 750, but again, that's kind of a guess without them even doing a design yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think they noted in the email, ideally would probably try to target it for construction during the summer season when the stream flows are low.
Okay. That's all, no other questions?
So when you say gate, you mean like these are just big, huge valves, right? And we've been using the same one since the 70s? Wow. Interesting. Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quick question. In the design phase, is it possible that they would discover that a different size gate would be necessary, given the fact that we're talking about, almost 60 years since they were first installed? Is there a different water flow that they may discover that would possibly affect the construction cost?
well, the gate is sized for the pipe, so you wouldn't put a smaller gate or a larger
Oh, I
gate.
get you. Okay. So the pipes are fine? Okay, it's just the gate that we're replacing?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. If nothing else, we'll move on.
Next, 411 is a new option for PFAS media, and it's for $220,000 coming from free cash.
So this would be to do a pilot program. We did a similar one when we went through the first PFAS filter design. At the time, DEP had not had clay as an approved media to remove PFAS. So we targeted, basically the 2 options we piloted back then was the ion exchange resin and then the activated charcoal as the removal sources. The activated charcoal was found to not be, to not work with the idea that there was too much sediment in the water that was coming through. So instead of removing the PFAS from the water, it was removing basically the sediment. The ion exchange resin did not have that problem, and that's why we went with the resin. If you look at the 10-year capital plan, we did have just an item to possibly consider looking at. It's called TOC design, or something like TOC design in construction, and that would be presumably if we, because the activated charcoal is believed to be about half as expensive as resin, and so, you know, if we had to pay a little bit more upfront, if there was a cost savings in the long run, we would consider it. However, this DEP came out with the option to look at clay, and clay, it's hard to get real numbers from the engineers and the companies that are doing this, because they say everyone's water characteristics are different, and that's really what the pilot study is for. But we're hopeful that resin is about a third of the cost, or there's a third savings, sorry, 2/3 the cost, the third savings of the ion exchange resin. So instead of, we would ask for approximately $1 million every 18 months. If this works, hopefully it's only about $700,000 to replace. And so obviously you can see that nothing else would be needed. The vessels, the tanks should be sized for any type of media. And so it would just be the next time that we need a replacement, we just fill it up with clay instead of resin. So that payback period, if this does work, if the study does show that it filters out the PFAS, would be a big cost savings down the line.
Anyone have any questions?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. How long is the pilot gonna run for? Sorry.
The resin? Sorry.
Yeah, the resin pilot.
The resin, we're still on the, we were thinking 18 months, so we're up to maybe 20 months or so now on just the first 3 tanks.
And then what you're saying is we're gonna shift and try clay?
So the pilot program would be we set up a little bypass where the resin still, we're not gonna have this done by the time this replacement comes up. So we'll replace with resin, and then hopefully this pilot would be able to be done and be implemented with the next switch out.
Okay.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. No, they set up these very small cylinders with just a small amount of material in it, and they extrapolate that up to what a giant tank would be.
And how long do they run that pilot for?
The guess is about 6 months. DEP typically wants to see warm water and cold water run through it because the characteristics change and it might affect the removal.
Okay. So then, and I'm asking you on behalf of the boards, in 6 months, I assume we'll be back here to talk about if it worked or not and what the path forward is going to wind up being?
Yeah, I could definitely come back for an update. And then, where that times out with the next, I'd have to figure out, obviously, whether it's next year or sooner.
Okay. All right. I mean, I have no problem with it. I'd like to stay close to it.
Yeah, sure.
Very curious. Thank you. Thank you.
Brian, how often is the resin replaced? Every 18 months? Is that the cycle?
Yeah, we're on about 20 months now.
Okay.
It's close. I mean, we just run it until we hit the trigger and we'll replace.
Sarah?
Thank you. Quick question, and maybe I just missed this, but you had originally said that the state clay was not part of an approved method of removing PFAS by the state originally. Are you saying that now it is approved?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
within the last year or so.
Okay.
Clay has been used, I don't have a lot of environmental cleanup background, but I'm told that clay has been around for things like spills for quite a while. So if a spill, some hazardous material spilled into a stream, they may line the beds of the stream with this clay because it has such a great interaction with absorbing chemicals. So it's been used in the environmental industry for quite a while. It just hasn't, PFAS is so new, I think. That's probably the delay into DEP considering it.
Yeah, I just wonder what else is in the wings as a potential option that they're studying as we learn more about this whole process. But yeah, I'm fine with this. Thank you.
All right, moving on.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we're out of the pay-as-you-go capital, and we're into the next 4 are going to be what we have annual. They're reoccurring every May. We're back talking about the same ones. So you can see acceptance of Chapter 90 funds is listed. I think everybody here knows really well what that is. In your backup, there was a memo from Assistant Town Engineer and a letter from the state talking about the potential of some additional funds if a bond bill is passed. So it's for just under 1.4 million, where our recommendation is to approve the higher number. Technically, Chapter 90 doesn't have to be approved by or appropriated by town meeting, but for some reason it has been for a long time, so maybe the new guy will change that. But you're used to seeing this Chapter 90 article, and the funding source is state funds.
Any questions on this one? Moving on.
Similar, the next one is also an annual article. This is for us to authorize the use of funds that are are dedicated in our sewer I&I fund to fund the debt payments from the projects where we do I&I work on a 75-25 split on a grant loan. We get 75% on a grant. We pay back 25% at 0% interest over 10 years. What this does is it authorizes us to use those funds that are in that sewer I&I separate fund, so that we can use it to pay down the debt. Again, every May you see this, it's $107,975. The funding source would be the I&I fund.
Questions? Okay.
The next one is Article 7, which is our sewer enterprise fund. We have what we refer to as a enterprise light fund, because we only have sewer and we don't put all of our sewer costs into it. This is, we have it set up for where we pay for the fees we're going to get from the MWRA for processing in our sewer. And then we also add in a little bit of funds for some ordinary maintenance and something like the Vactor. So as you'll see, it's $6,585,000 this year, a little bit of an increase from last year. The funding source for this, because it's a revolving account, it has to be self-sufficient. And the past few years, in the projections, we weren't sure we were going to get there yet. We were building back from a large decrease of water use in the commercial area during COVID, forced down our sewer revenues significantly. So now we're finally back at the point where we don't have to reserve any retained earnings or the enterprise, that's the enterprise funds version of free cash from the sewer fund to do it. We expect that the revenues from sewer bill payments will cover the costs that we're budgeting in the enterprise fund, or the sewer enterprise fund.
Questions?
Okay, another annual one, I'm on a roll, Brian. Another annual one is transfer from water stabilization. You hear about it 2 times a year. I sit here and tell you hear about it 2 times a year, but in January, we moved the funds into the stabilization fund because they closed into free cash. And then in May, we asked for the money from the stabilization fund to offset the increases in the operating budget. And this was a way for us to capture the additional revenues from a multi-year approach for fee increases over 10 years. This was what the plan was put into place for us when we first started moving into MWRA. The expenditures weren't going to quite add up, link up perfectly to the revenues, so this was the mechanism to do that. We'll hopefully, I say this each year, we'll hopefully only have to do this for a couple more years because we'll be done with the MWRA project and we will know what all those costs are and we will just build the revenues and the expenses into the operating budget at that time. So this is 1.586 million as presented. Okay. Next is number 9, a sewer Vactor for $790,000. This is free cash. The size of this one, this was in the backup for the vehicle replacement, and it's listed with that because it's a large piece of machine, machine used in the sewer department. We broke it out separately because it is an item that we may have bonded for. They last quite a long time. They cost quite a bit of money. So we may have bonded for this, however, through conversations with the administration and Ways and Means Committee, we thought that the best route for this was to use free cash. And if there's any questions specifically about what a VACTOR is, I'll let Brian and Tom answer that.
I just have a quick question. On the back of it says funding sources, borrowing, should we?
It's going to be free cash now, yep. So when we put the backup together, we hadn't made the decision yet about whether it was going to be free cash or not.
All set.
Anyone else?
So the next one, I won't try to describe, but it's Article 10. It's HVAC upgrades that we've been talking about for a long time to both this building, HVAC and generator upgrades to both this building and the annex for $5.3 million. This will be a bond, or at least now it'll be originally approved as a bond. It's a multi-year project, so that might not be the case in the end. But I'll let Brian describe the particulars for this one.
Okay, so I think this has been kind of tossed around on our capital plan for quite a while now. I think going back to perhaps FY20 to be funded for FY23 was as far back as I had seen. And so I think over the years, that initial plan, that was put together around COVID. COVID happened and prices shot through the roof. I think at the time we were only expecting like $1 million minus the design cost. And then, so COVID happened. There's been some design issues. So when we started it, one of the big factors is we didn't realize that the generator, even though it's due for replacement, needed to be kind of part of this project. So we looked at replacing the generator where it is. However, it's not going to meet current building code, so it has to be due to how close it is to the building. So that has to be moved in the enclosure that it's in. There's no room for it to be moved. That issue came up, so that hasn't been designed yet. So there's a number, we're kind of at the point now where we got to a point where we realized how expensive it was going to be, realized it was going to be tough to fit in, and so we tried to delay it a few years to better fit it in and to continue through the design. But we're basically at the point, the chiller is 27 years old. I'm told by the HVAC engineers that you don't get any longer than 30 years, even with the most well-maintained chiller. So we're getting really close to it breaking and not being available, which I think the only alternative would be to buy a bunch of window air conditioning units and install them. So we're really running up against the lifespan of it, which is why typically we like to have the whole thing 100% designed and to figure it out. But I think the hope is that we can, if we're asking for all the money up front, we can hopefully accelerate everything. And if we were to, it still might not be finished in time, but at least this would give us the possibility of starting to look at construction next spring before the summer and trying to get through another summer with the chiller. So this will involve 100% design, design of the fan coil units, which wasn't part of the original HVAC design, and the site work design that's needed with the enclosure that's out there, whether it needs to be expanded, which might encroach into a sidewalk, or it might trigger a planning board review. It needs survey work that wasn't part of the original design, and then it's the construction cost of the chiller, all the fan coil units, and a new generator.
Do you have any questions or on this?
Did I just add something, Mr. Chairman? That
You absolutely
Brian pointed it out at the beginning that this has been on the Capitol for a while. It's actually been a priority of the DPW for the last couple of years, but we just haven't been able to fit it in, and we sort of saw this year as something where we weren't going to be asking for a school or a police station, $15 million PFAS facility or anything like that. So it has been being kicked the can down the road a little bit, but now we're worried about the road ending, and nobody wants to see window units hanging out of town hall building, so.
And I think the age of the age of the generator is even older. That was somewhere between 1990 and 93. And so perhaps, I guess, the generator being important to be able to power the IT server room, which is, if it's our offices, we could deal with perhaps some uncomfortable days or go home, but if the IT server room gets too hot, a lot of the equipment's going to fail.
Nick?
Thanks, Chairman. So I know that we're working through, but where might the generator go?
We think it'll still fit in the same configuration. It just might have to switch places with the chiller. That's part of the design, is seeing where the pipes, the chiller pipes are underground, and seeing where we can move that. Or is the enclosure that's out there have to grow into the sidewalk to make some more space? Or, seeing if we can maybe expand into the grass area, or, which would be the better option.
Okay.
All right, next item?
Okay, next item is water meter replacement program. This is, and Brian can get into the details, but this is year one of a phased multi-year plan that we're not quite sure how much it's going to cost in the end. The estimates are in the $5 million range. We originally talked about potentially doing this as one big approval and bonding some of it, but given that we don't know how long it might take or how far the $1 million will get us, we sort of agreed to fund it from free cash for 1 year for $1 million, and then use that to get a better idea of how far we got, how long it took, that sort of thing. There were potentially going to be some economies. If approving it all at once, we may have been able to lock in a rate for the whole project, but we just didn't think that was worth tying up that kind of money, and not knowing how long it was. You can't do them all in 1 year anyway, probably, so knowing it's going to be multi-year, we use this as a little bit of a learning exercise. But Brian can answer any questions about the project as a whole.
Yeah, sure.
Residential or commercial?
All. So everything, everything was replaced in the last mass meter replacement project, 2010 or so, I believe. So we've been trying to be proactive. So in our operating budget, if you recall, there's, I think, perhaps I think John started the program, John Sanchez, and because the meters were starting to fail, MIUs were starting to fail. And so we put $50,000 into our operating budget for yearly meter replacements. And so we've been trying to stay ahead of everything breaking and buying us time till we had to contract out a large replacement. And now we're kind of at the period where we can't keep up with them. So it is everything. Depending on, we asked for some money last year to work with an engineer and develop an RFP and review all the different technologies that are out there, which we're finalizing now. So depending on if there's some adapters, if we decide to switch meter companies, most of them have adapters that we can reuse the existing meters that we have installed within the last couple of years. So it won't be the entire meter inventory, we believe, but a good portion of it. I think at least, I think it's about 70% to 75% are like in the 12 to 15 year old range where
And this is the same as before, it's the cost of the residents is none, right? What do we get?
Yeah, no, yep, this would.
It doesn't cost the resident anything, right? Just so whoever's listening can hear that.
Yep.
And even the installation is up to the town too, right?
Yep.
Okay, just so the residents hear that, that's all.
Sure.
Because they'll be asking me a lot. Thank you.
Nick?
And how's that work? The town's contact of the residents by letter, letting them know that it needs to be replaced?
Yeah, the contractor, whoever is awarded that bid would be responsible for contacting the residents, scheduling appointments. It's part of the reason why it just can't be done in-house is because of that scheduling, to try to fit all those people in. But yeah, I mean, I know my house, I went through it maybe 5 years ago. It's like a 10-minute, it took 10 minutes. The contractor comes in, they don't even need to touch the valve. They have a plumbing tool that basically freezes the line so that there's an ice plug that's inside of it right in the basement, temporarily freezes it. They can pull the meter off. So it's right in, right out. Because of the last project, there should already be wires and part of the other installation was trying to run wires and install a box on the outside of a house, but most of that should already be in place, so it should be real quick.
Yeah, can I just add to that the contractor does all of the coordination with the residents. The communications to the residents will still be something that Brian's team and email blast, once we know the areas we're doing, we do use all of our regular communication efforts to let residents know they're going to be contacted by.
The communication director can help with that, too. Joe Fall?
Just real quick, and that's for, like, someone that has 2 meters. Someone that has one for outdoors and indoors, both meters should be replaced, and so that'll count for both meters, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, all the accounts.
Just one's for a sprinkler system and one for inside? Okay. That's just so they know.
And another follow-up question.
Sure.
No.
Let's say somebody didn't got 10, 12 years ago, and they don't have the wires. This contractor's prepared to deal with all that stuff too.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
You probably still won't let them in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next one is the water main upgrade. This is something you hear every 2 years, which I can't wait to argue with Mr. Sagarino about the word tomorrow, but it's biennial. So every 2 years, 1.5 million. So in 1 year, we do 3.5 million for roads and sidewalks and parking lots, and for the other year, we do 1.5 million for water main replacements. So this is going to be free. It was originally put in as it was going to be a bond like we always do, and then typically when we do our free cash analysis and find out how much we have and how much we want to be able to carry over or not use in 1 year and make available for the following year, this typically winds up in that. So it was originally bonding, now it's free cash.
Moving on. Oh, yes.
What is this kind of work, what kind of impact does it have on the residents nearby, as a resident affected by this?
Well, you went through it. We put a new water main in your street not too long ago.
Oh, that,
So-
when you repaved the road?
Well, we did drainage, water main, and then we resurfaced the road. So typically, it's like any other construction. You have to dig a trench, and you put the pipe in, and then you connect the houses up to the pipe. So it is, during the course of the project, it's inconvenient, but it's like any other construction.
Okay, got it. That's all, thanks.
You get a nice new road out of it.
I have a question. The map that is in the backup, it has a section, the northernmost section, it looks like, is that Cambridge Street that we're replacing?
Yes, that's Cambridge. That is, so this is referred to as our wish list because there is $26 million worth of work here. Well, actually, 26 plus. Yeah, we break it down to four priorities. It's high break history is our number one priority, where we have water mains that have had multiple breaks. That upgrade will reinforce the system. It gives us bigger pipe, better flow. Then we have water main loops, which is more of a redundancy. So any place that might have just one main in, we want to loop that back around so we can feed from different directions. Helps with redundancy, helps with quality. And then kind of a new wrinkle is water service replacements. So a lot of the water services were black iron, and they're well over 50 years old. So if you see these clusters, like down the flats, on the hills, or by Church Lane, multiple breaks. So we're starting to focus on replacing water services. We've done, a couple of years ago, we did Belmont and Cormier. We're working this into our pavement management program, so if we're going to pave a street next year, we want to do the water services this year. So that way, we don't have any water breaks under the new pavement. Right. And there's another little bit of a wrinkle with the EPA. They're prioritizing us to inventory to see if we have any lead in the system, which we've never seen any lead pipes in the system, but we're required to do sampling and check out different. So that will work, and we'll work that into our service replacement program to try to inventory anything that might be suspect.
Okay, what I was trying to get at is the state is repaving Cambridge Street this year, and it looks like we'll be digging up Cambridge Street.
Maybe in 50 years.
But, so there is no intent to replace this section that's highlighted on Cambridge Street?
No, not within the lifespan of the pavement.
Okay, I was just curious why it was highlighted then.
Yeah, well, it's a priority, and the priorities may change when the water master plan is redone. This priority of upgrades and loops may be reordered because of, the flow is different now. It's different with the new connection over on Adams Street. The whole dynamic, the whole hydraulics of the system has changed. So the priorities may change once the master plan is completed.
I just don't want people up in arms, and myself included, saying, they just paved it, and now we're digging it up.
Yeah, we coordinate. We spend a lot of time coordinating not only our own infrastructure, but like National Grid and Eversource. We coordinate so that we don't want them paving a road. We don't want to pave a road and then next year they say, hey, we want to dig it up. It just, it doesn't look good on our part.
No, that was my question.
More like a wish list, right, of prior things we want to do?
Yeah, these were all identified. If you look at some of the sources, some of the stuff goes back to the SEA report in '99. And that was a master plan. And then in 2016, there was another master plan. So it gets reformulated and reprioritized based on, what we see from the hydraulics.
Gotcha.
And the last one for this evening is Article 13, which is the sewer I&I. This is MWRA program that I spoke about earlier, the 75-25. This is Phase 16. There's a memo in there about the program, but I think everybody's pretty familiar with it. We get a chunk of money to do this I&I work. We have to pay 75% of it we get a grant for. We have to pay back 25% of it, and we do it over 10 years at 0%. So you'll see we're asking for the authorization to borrow $1.432 million, even though that's not going to be the amount of the loan we pay back. That will be 25% of that, but you're required to authorize the entire amount. And again, we'll add that into our Article 6 next year when we ask for using the I&I funds to pay back the loan we have. We'll be adding that one in, probably the following year.
Any questions or comments on I&I? All right, does anyone have any objection to taking all of these as a vote, as a once? Can I do that? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve, I have to go back to the index. Mr. Denizio, what were the,
4-4 through 4-11.
okay. I make a motion, we approve Articles 4-4 through 4-11 as presented.
And 5 through 13.
And 5 through 13 as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? And chair's aye, it's 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
All righty, that brings us to subcommittee reports.
I have one quick one. That was a follow-up what Sarah said earlier regarding the Public Arts Committee. We had a meeting today, I couldn't make it, but I'll make sure that Melissa and Public Arts Committee come together regarding the trailer and whatnot. But the Public Arts Committee is working with the police station contract regarding the temporary move of the sculptures. We are planning a spring event in conjunction with the library for May 17th. More info coming on that. And we're expanding to look at like a mural project in conjunction with the schools, the art students at the schools, to create a mural. Got some ideas going out there, nothing solid, but again, expanding the breadth of the Public Arts Committee. That's it.
Nick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Had a call today with Collins Center to discuss the review committee. That is coming along nicely in terms of, how things are going. I think to date, we've got 12 applicants so far, which is great, because we're looking to put together a committee of 7 to 9. I know that, there's more discussion on this to come, but I want to thank everyone who's taken the time to submit a letter of interest to get involved in this process. It is greatly appreciated. There is still time if people do want to engage and submit a letter of interest, and then we'll move into a selection process from there. I won't go much beyond that. I know there's more for this board to discuss. Everything else from a subcommittee perspective is well in hand. We've heard from Melissa tonight. I do want to take a minute, if I may. Word has spread like wildfire within the community that we've decided to cancel the 4th of July parade. Obviously, it was an extremely difficult decision that the committee had to make, but I want to make a couple things clear. The first is that the 4th of July committee is not a town-run committee. I cannot overstate that enough. I will not deny, and documentation obviously shows that a warrant article is submitted on a regular basis, asking town meeting to fund a portion of the parade every year, but this is a resident-run committee. The committee at this point is roughly 4 people strong. So while I will say that the paving project happening on 3A was a big piece of the discussion around whether to try and maintain the parade, it's a very small committee, bringing the parade to residents on a regular basis. A lot of discussion on Facebook around this. I appreciate those people who are stepping forward and saying, well, geez, how can we help? The committee is discussing the possibility of hosting something on the Common on the 4th. So this year is not a complete wash, but that, we have an opportunity to come together as a community and celebrate, and maybe even try to, well, I won't go there because it's not my place in this particular role to do that. Which brings me to another point, is that it just so happens, everybody, that a select board member has been on this committee for the last 12, 13 years, probably longer than that, right? I think Mike was doing it for
A long time.
yeah. That, I think, only leads to the notion of give busy people work, the other ones will get it done. The select board does not need to be on this committee. The only reason I'm on the committee is because Mike Runyon was looking for volunteers, and I put my hand up. So I need people to understand that, the town isn't just abandoning this parade. A committee of residents made a very, very difficult decision. My ask is that you reach out to me directly, you reach out to the Burlington 4th of July committee, either through Facebook or on the website. Express your interest to volunteer. We need bodies, and it's not just the day of, right? We're planning all year round. That's all I'll say on that. I appreciate the board listening. It's a point of privilege for me to be able to have this platform to speak on it. And I hope that the residents understand where we're coming from. Thank you.
Sarah?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just really quick, as Nick made mention, there, from the DPW side, the overnight milling has started on 3A. So there's going to be a whole repaving project from the Billerica line to Burlington High School on that whole stretch of 3A. So that's the milling aspect of it is happening for the next about 2 weeks, I believe. It's going to be a mess. So you just bear with us, bear with the state. We'll do our best to get through this. And then I don't have the exact dates, but hopefully done with this whole project by the summer, and then we can put this behind us. So just a heads up, everyone, and pay attention to the signs that are out there. We'll try to keep, the updates from DPW coming. but just try to respect the temporary lanes that are being put over the milled area, and respect the permanent lanes that eventually get added to our beloved 3A. That's all. Thank you.
Joe?
I want to say something about our boss.
Do it.
But I don't know if this is the,
Do it.
as you guys have noticed the last couple of meetings, whether on TV or here in the room, Mr. Strangarino has not been with us. I think the next couple of days will be his last official days here in the office. He didn't want any fanfare goodbye or parties or anything at all, so we tend to his wishes, and he's not here to hear the acclamations that we could all say about him. We could sit here for another 25 minutes and talk about a man that has been working for this town for a very, very long time and has done a lot to benefit this town. So I just want to say, I wish him the best on his endeavor moving forward. We have a new gentleman coming in that is going to step up and probably just as good, if not better than Paul. He doesn't like this kind of stuff either, because he'll get all emotional and red over there. But we are a very, very good place in this town. We are a very, very good place with who we're bringing in and what we've had in the past. So I'm not going to say much, Paul. You're a great friend, and I love you, bud. I hope everything goes well for you.
And yeah, I want to echo, this is our last meeting with Paul as technically our town administrator, and just to echo what Joe said, the town owes him a debt of gratitude. He's made an immense impact here in Burlington. We've all mentioned it, we all know it, we've all kind of learned and grown over him, and he'll be sorely missed. And tonight, it's kind of fitting that it's kind of a testament to our the way we do things here in Burlington, where we have succession plans. I mean, the transition to John has been seamless, and the town business goes on, even though we lose great people, but that's a testament to the good people we have working here, and the thinking ahead and having a vision. And I'm glad to see we're continuing to do that with 2 more people tonight, so that Burlington can continue to prosper. But again, back to Paul, I learned a ton from him, and he taught me how to be a select board member, and I couldn't be more thankful to have worked with him. And he's not going far, so we'll be in touch, and we wish him the very best in his future endeavors. All right.
Town administrator's report.
So the next meeting, we'll have the final warrant articles to approve. There's there's 8 left that you would normally take up each year. If there's going to be any others, you need to know ASAP, because the meeting's next week, and we need to invite folks if you want someone to present to you. So we'll reach out for that. And then just 2 quick shout out. One to the clerk's office, who our new town clerk, our former town clerk, and our archivist battled a monsoon out there on Saturday, and they had over 75 people came for the shredding day. I was here to see them. They were soaking wet, but it was that's pretty great numbers, even, and then add in the rain. And then also on Saturday, I had the pleasure to go to the Board of Health Fair at the high school. Again, very well attended. I didn't get a count on the people, but it was pretty packed, and there was a ton of tables in there with companies and even some town departments. And then, as usual, with like anything that has the Board of Health, their volunteer corps is amazing, and they were all over the place too. So I just wanted to give those few shout outs.
Thank you. And one thing I will add before we close is on Sunday, we got a shout out from Burlington Baseball and Softball. They thanked us for working with them on the rain date, as we saw Saturday was a mess, and they were able to quickly transition to Sunday. So they wanted to send their thanks to the Select Board and Select Board office for working with them, and it was a great day, great event, and all the Little Leaguers and softball players were out there, and it was pretty cool. So I did want to share that they did say thank you very much and publicly thanked us for that. So with that, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 5-0, meeting adjourned.